such an asshole!
Hey everybody, assholeconsulting.com. Go there if you have questions. We are catching up with all the backlog of Asshole Consulting clients. And this young man writes, Dear Mr. Clary, I'm a 22-year-old that just graduated with an economics degree at a top 25 public school 2 months ago and came out with $33,000 in student loans. I managed to get a job at a Fortune 100 insurance company, F100. I think it means Fortune 100 insurance company. At a corporate finance rotational program. My first rotation is in investment accounting and investment taxes. This is a 4-year program. I'll have 4 different rotations within that time frame. I have a lot of anxiety on what route I should take with my career because I want to end up wealthy and avoid the middle class trap as a corporate slave on this debt hamster wheel of scheduled payments. Well, if you want to avoid the debt hamster wheel, you don't have to be rich. You just don't borrow money, which is a lot easier than becoming rich. Look, you could be rich 2 ways. You can make a lot of money, or you just get rid of your need and desire to spend a lot of money. The second is a lot easier, right? A lot easier. And it happens to be one of the founding principles of my upcoming treaty or essay, not book. I dare don't call it a book. Anyway, we'll talk about that later sometime. End up wealthy. Because of this, I have brainstormed multiple routes I could take. 1, continue with this program and have my company pay for my MBA part-time. 2, continue with the program and have them pay for my CFA. Go to a top MBA program, example, Wharton, and get into portfolio management. 3, continue the program, have them pay for my master's in accounting and get my CPA. 4, continue the program, say fuck it to advanced degrees and certifications, and build a business / my own infrastructure on the side. I look forward to your wisdom to help me from not fucking up. Haha. Okay, here's the deal. Out of all of them, the last one's the best idea. Because the dirty little secret is to get rich, like actually, $1 million, millionaire wealthy. You do not get rich working for other people. You just don't. And you can get your CFA and your MBA, and you will certainly be well off. I mean, CFAs, I think with 15 to 20 years experience make like 160 on average. All right? But in the grand scheme, that's not rich. That's not fuck you money. If you save it up and you work those years and you invest wisely and you're a minimalist, you don't take on debts, and you don't marry a divorce-prone wife or have more kids than you can afford, you might be rich, you might become a corporate executive, but the chances of you becoming a corporate executive at like one of the Fortune 100 companies or the S&P 500 companies is very small. You're not going to be making these $15 million annual with $43 million in stock option. That's just such a small, minuscule, minute percentage of the population. You're just not going to become that. You got to know somebody, and it doesn't sound like you know anybody. So all those previous ideas you had, work well, become the corporate man at the insurance company, get your MBA. That's probably the worst idea because MBAs are worthless. Go and continue on to get your CFA. Okay, that's a little bit better, especially if you get in a graduate program like Wharton or Kellogg Northwestern or U of Chicago. That certainly will not hurt you. Then there is also going on to get your CPA or a master's in accountancy. And that's also a very good thing. But none of those, working for another man, that's what those degrees prepare you for, is to go work for a large corporation. None of those are going to make you rich. What makes you rich is self-employment and entrepreneurship. And not just self-employment and entrepreneurship. You got to come up with a brilliant fucking idea. I don't like asshole consulting, but better than that. Just a lot better than that. And then you become wealthy. Bill Gates came up with a point-click interface. What else? Pharmaceutical companies coming up with drugs that treat or cure diseases. Somebody inventing the light bulb, television, all this other stuff. You got to come up with an idea that is revolutionary, that is truly new. It doesn't have to be necessarily revolutionary, but it has to be in demand. It has to be what people want, and it has to be, above all else, something that nobody else has come up with an idea yet for. Or you can start your own company, build it from the ground up, and become a great plumber and employ thousands. That's another way. Or franchise. The larger point is that you need to be in the position of ownership of the company, because then you're entitled to all of the earnings. And that means you have unlimited earnings. When you work for someone else, it is it's directly against their best interests to pay you as much as possible. They always want to pay you as little as possible because the owners want most of the money. So if you truly want to become rich and you want fuck you money, you have to become self-employed. Now, what a lot of young people, a lot of people period, just think, I just started a business. I just started a business. And like, I'm going to go start my business. And my first question is, what's your business? And then, I don't know what you're going to start with. I was thinking about drop shipping on Amazon. That's not, no. So what you need to do is you need to get some kind of skill or trade, preferably in IT, preferably in computers, preferably in medicine, or someplace where that there is the most opportunity for innovations and creations and entrepreneurial opportunities. So what I recommend if people really want to become entrepreneurial is, look, you got to put food on the table anyway. Go work in an industry or a field or major in something that will pay for your food, clothing, and shelter, put you in an industry that is always constantly evolutionizing and changing and on the cutting edge, that will then give you the perspective, experience, and market knowledge to say, oh, wait a minute, okay, I see a need over there, and there's an unfulfilled need over there, and I'm going to create it. Now, that's just you going to college. You don't have it. You can come up with great ideas. Think about the guy that took the ketchup bottle, said, glass sucks, turn it upside down, put a big thing at the bottom so you can have it drain it. I mean, I don't know if they got $1 million, but Shark Tank, some of those ideas are just really clever and brilliant. A lot of it is just sitting the fuck down and thinking about a problem. Simple entrepreneurial idea, if you're trying to find a business idea, find something that annoys you in life and then come up with a solution to it. Because guarantee you it's annoying other people. I've often thought about coming up with some kind of way to put duct tape over the engine light because your O2 sensor is off and you're not getting the most fuel efficiency for your vehicle because we're all green and we're sucking Al Gore's dick. I call it black duct tape, but I thought there would be maybe something a little bit more hacky or computer programming that would do that. Anyway, that's another way to go and find the working world experience, knowledge, not to mention work up the capital you need to start a business. If you're a CFA or a CPA or even an MBA and you're working and you're making money and you're making 60, 70, 80 grand a year, it's just you. That's a lot of money left over for you to save and put towards a business. So that going to school doesn't change. You need to go, not necessarily to school, but trade or something. You need to get a skill or a trade and then learn about an industry or a skill or a trade or a market that would allow you then to start figuring out, okay, we can do it better this way. We can do it better that way. And then you start your own business after you get the world working experience, network connections, all that other stuff. The one thing, though, I will point out about your options, though, is some of them are congruent with entrepreneurship. The CPA being probably most prominent among them. CPAs are like a trade. They're like plumbers. They're like electricians, except they don't get their hands dirty. Actually, it's true. They don't get there. Maybe they spill some ink on it, but they don't really like plumbing or mechanic. But it is a trade nonetheless. And if you're okay with just making a couple $1 million over the course of your life, you don't need fuck you money today or tomorrow. Becoming a CPA and opening up your own practice is a very good way to go. But again, it's the same thing. You got to go and work for a company. You got to figure out how the real world works. You got to figure out where there's a demand. And then you go ahead and you open up a shop as a CPA. But it's going to be like a dentist or a tattoo artist or a chimney cleaner. It's pretty set and standard what you're going to do. It's self-employment. It's better than working for Pete Marwick or Ernst & Young or whatever of the big four accounting firms are left. But it's not going, unless you create something new and you innovate something new, that's not going to happen. About the only other thing I can think of is if you write a book or an app, some kind of software or language, some kind of that can be sold online on the internet, and you get lucky, you create the next Angry Birds. But again, that goes into the world of programming, or you're going to have to become a writer. So the number of ways that you can become an entrepreneur and make buku coin is unlimited. The problem also is that it's very hard to find out what these ideas are. And you're like me, you can have 1 million ideas fail and only have 2 or 3 succeed. But you will not become the level of richness that you want, that I think you want, by simply being a good corporate man. You'll be all right. You'll be wealthy. You can maybe make some investments. You could probably maybe even have several $1 million saved up by the time you're 75 and dead. But I have a feeling you want to make more money. And going and working for insurance isn't bad. Not bad. It's an industry. Maybe you come up with a better insurance company or a better insurance idea. Going and becoming a CPA is not bad either. Becoming an MBA is the dumbest fuck move you could ever make, unless you go to Wharton or the U of Chicago. And it's paid for. And there's a job at the end of it. But working for someone else will not make you rich. You will have to become an entrepreneur. So get into that entrepreneurial mindset. If you have to read Bachelor Pad Economics, read the chapter on entrepreneurship. It's very good because I wrote it. And get your mind into the mindset of finding a better mousetrap. That's how you're going to make money. It ain't going to be sitting in that fucking MBA class listening to Professor. I've never stuck my dick in the private sector once, and I'm purely an academician limptic guy telling you about Porter's 5 forces models. And, well, you'll see there's a diagram here, and there's cash cows, and then there's the, what was it? I even remember this chart. There's cash cows. It was a quadrant. See, there were 2 variables on each axis, and that resulted in 4 particular categories. And one was a cash cow. The other was startup. It was the stupidest fucking most common sense bullshit. Don't fucking waste your time in MBA school. Learn a skill, learn a trade, become a CPA, or become a fucking engineer, or go to programming boot camp, all right? But for the love of God, don't become a goddamn corporate man. Best of luck to you. Toodles.